This is the True Detective Podcast by BleedTV, covering Season 3. I'm Zack.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
This is covering Episode 3, which is called The Big Never.
The Big Never.
Who's the director on this one?
The one and only Daniel Sackheim. Yeah, I mean, the name it gets me every time.
The guy's got history on Game of Thrones.
I
know that name. You know what I mean?
I mean, it sounds right.
It sounds so
sounds
right.
like something we would have.
Yeah, you got Sackheim, Podesta. I mean, there's just some of those key last names you just can't forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's Thrones, but he may have been something we've heard before.
Was anybody else disappointed we didn't get 2 hours of this True Detective? I mean, wow. I'm just like, we were so gifted with 2 hours in the beginning. To only get this 1 hour was tough on me, man.
Yeah, because I kept waiting for that moment where it fades to black, because there was a few moments where you're like, oh, there it goes. Oh, well, got a little bit more. Oh, there it goes. A little bit more. One thing I will say is that the pacing is still excellent on the show so far.
There's no doubt. I was never bored. Never. Not a single thing.
No, I've never been bored, and I've never been upset by a moment in the show or anything like that yet.
No, I mean, because the acting is phenomenal, and just the way they're using music and like almost freeze frames throughout these interviews, and just like driving by the kids and stuff, he goes really creepy music, almost like it's Halloween or something. I'm like, okay.
And I think Pizzolatto stumbled or geniusly came across the fact that doing 3 time eras in a single season gives you 3 different plots to follow.
Yes.
3 different interesting things to keep track of, and it's like, oh, this is just good. I mean, it ends up where you don't have these dull moments. Mm-mm. Everything, you have to pay attention to all of it. So it's like, oh, I'm always intrigued, always captivated by what's on the screen, because you know you're got to be searching.
You have to believe that over 50%, if not more, of what you're watching is truly just to make your mind wander in 40 different directions of who done it, who, why, this, there, so on, when the answer is probably right in front of you, but you just cannot synthesize it with so much information in front of you.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't quite know what area you're in. Like, I'm sometimes slipping between that, but like not in a bad way or anything. And then the 3 eras also builds in, it's like an instant pot for character development. And I think that's a really genius way to do this, because we've only got 8 episodes. And so we're cheating our way through it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, all right, I mean, don't get me wrong. Season 1, some of those times where they sit down at a table and they're being interviewed, when you're talking to, cop, this, there, so on, and that camera's right there, and you're just letting that actor do his thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, this episode had Roland West with Stephen Dorff just spitting it out. I mean,
controlling it all the way through.
Controlling it, just stealing the show for episode 3. I mean, just owning, and to me, like, that's the stuff that, like, gets my goat, man. It's just like, that's what makes this legit. Is that these guys are bringing it like that.
Like, they're just acting, and that is something that you're not allowed to do in a whole lot of TV shows anymore. And that's why I've always respected anything just HBO, because they give you those kinds of things.
Yeah, I love all the moments where you feel the sting a little bit of what the person's saying. Like when the guy calls, hey, son, talking about getting a warrant and stuff like that. I guess you're going to have to do that, son. And stuff. I was like, ooh. Yeah. For myself, I was mad. And I went purple just to choke him out.
Yeah,
or Roland saying,
right there, like,
I'm making a point.
Yeah. or he looks at him and goes, y'all fucked a good cop. Or, just straight up, like, eat that.
And he said, I bet he wasn't even mad at you, was he? I bet he didn't even give you a hard time, did he? He's like, no, he didn't. The dialogue stuff is grown so much from last season to now, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because first you talk about it when you got McConaughey and them sitting there, it's like
making his little beer can.
It's you're jerking off on the page a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But he had that story in his mind for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's always what happens. That sophomore season, it's like, oh well, I don't have anything to back up that, But then the third season, it's like, well, I know I have to bring it. And I think he has. I think he's really nailed it with actor's choice and everything.
Through and through. And I mean, it was like they were big-name actors, but they weren't necessarily big-name actors. They just all had that experience and were waiting for this kind of role.
Yeah.
And they're all nailing it.
Yeah, it was on the money. I think we can all agree. There's no point in, jizzing here and saying that, well, it was a fantastic episode, We get to... Let's talk about the episode itself.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We don't like to go, scene by scene.
New revelations.
Let's talk about key points of the episode that shook us when it comes to what our original direction and what we thought things were going. I've got a few of them marked. I got to tell you, the biggest thing that hit me the entire episode, I was like, oh, hell no. Click the pictures, is when Roland pulls out that map, and on the bottom right corner was a yellow crown.
Yeah.
Okay. And you talk about season 1 throwback. You talk about tinglings down the back of the neck, the whole 9 yards. What the hell are we looking at here?
I mean, it comes down, do we think it's a connection back to season 1, or is it just kind of...
We've heard Crooked Spiral.
Yep.
And now we've seen literally a picture of a yellow crown.
And we've got a kidnapped little girl, which would go into the Crooked Spiral as well.
Correct.
And even a mention of maybe they never wanted the boy to begin with.
Yes.
I mean, there's plenty of connections based on those things right there. I think the map is just a picture of showing you where the playground, their secret play area is. Would y'all think that is?
Well, no, this could be a D&D map too.
Yeah.
Very true.
So you
Because, we find the dice and everything.
Yeah, that's the thing is what we find is what it looks like, the different ways they play with each of the children. The boy gets D&D time, action figure time, stuff like that. And a lot of people actually use action figures as characters in a D&D game.
Yes.
Okay? The dice, all that stuff. The girl, we see multiple more of the straw
more
dolls.
dolls in there.
And a lot of drawing and coloring. You see all her little, looks like sketchbook pages are torn out and notebooks and stuff like that. So you see the different ways. The new toys, that the parents have no idea.
Right, and the revelation that the boy never really played with the kids, and that was all false. And so,
absolutely, we've 100% found out that
These kids were lying to their parents.
Lying to their parents.
These kids had an alternate lifestyle that the parents were completely oblivious to.
Right, and this is so creepy when you have kids and stuff like that, is because this is exactly what happens. Before a kid gets abducted.
Yeah,
is you get a trust built right before you snatch them up, or convince them of something that gets them into a corner, and then you snatch them. So it's like, this really, kind of curdles my,
Well, it's the same ingredient of having two parents that the kids are byproducts. They're not the focus. Like the dad said, I've never seen the kid here. He's never come here. They've always gone there. And like the mom's like, so I mean, like, it's obvious that the kids were they were not a focus of anyone's life in that household.
No, we got an absent mother and a stressed out father.
Who might not even be the father of both of these children.
Very possible. I mean, she's obviously been riding him. He's kind of just a local yokel that doesn't make a lot of money and doesn't have much ambition. Whatever. I understand some of this stuff. You know what I mean? It's a lot of it's normal marital problems.
Yeah.
But obviously, this gets into heated battles at the house.
Non-stop. Just fighting, probably.
We talked about. I think I nailed the notes through the hole in the wall.
Yeah, the notes were huge.
Yes.
Right. I mean, some of them were just like, "Good night." Some of them were
here
like,
with you.
"I'm here with you." I'll always protect you. It's simple things that I see a big brother.
You're on the money there.
And the notes are clearly have been rolled
up,
rolled into a tight little,
and then unrolled and kept in a notebook to flatten.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I might have nailed that.
Which also, like, bravo to Will for thinking of drilling a hole like that and everything. Like, I mean, that's not something that your average kid is really going to think about.
You want the bravo here. How about the bravo of making the viewer feel like the uncle is a scumbag that's been peeking on a little girl, and it makes us talk about it for the first couple episodes of, oh, he's potential, he's a guy, when the reality of it is, seeing these notes right here completely changes the aspect of this whole.
We think.
I think you're on the absolute.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head.
I think that is that's the best thing. I think I feel like I could put $500 on that right now and say that is absolutely awesome.
Well, like I said, I think that's the case, and I think that's just mainly to highlight the fact that they live in a shitty household.
This is a terrible home environment.
It sucks to be kids in this house. And the girl probably has trouble sleeping. Because she's terrified or upset about what's happening. So. Makes total sense to me.
I'm right there with you.
But I agree. The revelations we find at the house.
Well, and then the other big revelation at the house is we get this bag.
Yeah, the Hoyt Foods bag.
Okay, so we get a Hoyt bag, and then we also get a photograph of him in the same exact pose.
Yes.
In his communion photo.
All right, let's talk about the photo first, because the Hoyt bag leads into more of the episode here. Okay, my first thought of when I saw that pose is that who has access to that picture, which basically means the people in that house, And so, does that solidify that the daughter helped pose him based on that? Is that, to me, that's what I came to the conclusion of. Is that, however, if he died, if it was on purpose or not, the dolls and the way he was posed is showing the way of how the sister was involved in his posing.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that 100%.
But see, we kind of thought that from the jump with the dolls. We were like, they want him to be found, and he's not mutilated or anything.
No, he's in a peaceful manner.
Yeah.
It's like you said.
It's like we don't want him to be found immediately, but we want him to be found.
Yes, and then I think you even said it like they were almost kind of protecting him.
He's out of the elements.
Yeah.
They put him underneath something.
Well, and like the dolls were kind of like guardian angels.
And I even said, I was like, it doesn't look like he was hit in the back of the head or anything like that. I said he landed on something or fell.
Well, the crime scene where he find the bloody rock, the dice, the hair on that stuff like that, or so on, it truly makes me believe that his death
was accidental,
and that the reason he was posed is because the sister that's what they did, and now she's gone because they're fearful. She doesn't have a protector anymore. She doesn't have. They don't want to go home anymore, and so it makes me jump all over the idea is that they weren't kidnapped. They were just that she was facilitated a way out of a bad situation.
Now, I still think the people that are playing with them in the woods are of a nefarious kind.
Okay.
And I do believe that when these people that were playing with them are planning to kidnap them, is that maybe he gets scared, tries to protect his sister, and falls and hurts himself. The daughter's young, the little girl's young, or like that. They could easily tell her
because she's like 4 years younger than the brother. It almost feels
like. But horrible accident that this happened.
I just keep going back to the fact of is if they were being kidnapped and he was protecting her, would you let her be incorporated in his posing and everything afterwards? Would you allow the body to be moved? Would you do that stuff? Because if you've done a crime,
that's a good point.
That person would want to flee. You would just leave the body there where the rock was that killed him.
No, but that's how you convince a little girl too. Like, if we don't get out of here, you'll be in big trouble because they'll think you did this.
Yeah.
You could use the Jedi mind trick. Yeah, I get you.
You use the reverse psychology on a little girl because you're still getting what you want, which is taking this girl, right? The thing is, maybe the girl is scared enough where she never wants to come back or let anybody know she's alive because she thinks she's going to be in trouble for Will's death.
It's possible.
Or, it's the same. Like I said, the captives kept her captive for a while, but she's roaming around a Walgreens pharmacy. She wasn't locked up or something. Or maybe she's on the run. I don't know, but what I'm saying is I think the people are nefarious, wanted to kidnap her, take her.
I believe that to an extent.
I do understand too. Let me throw a random question out here. Okay, where did they get the original fingerprints from? And if you're 10 years later, I don't know the science behind that.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a 10-year-old little girl and you're 20, don't your fingertips and all that stuff? I mean,
no, your fingerprints are the same.
Fingerprints never
change.
But
your hand grows.
Yeah, but it never changes your fingerprint.
Okay, I want to make sure we're on the same page. And so, did it ever show where they got the original prints from, or was that from?
But they can get them anywhere in her bedroom, anywhere.
Yeah, and also, I remember in elementary school when you had Fair Day, the police would come and they let you fingerprint yourself like it was a fun thing to do. But that's one way you have your fingerprints.
I'm just saying, 1980, they constantly show them printing stuff.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I just never saw that. I didn't know if I missed something. But
I don't think you missed something.
I don't think they ever showed it.
Yeah,
but they knew they knew her bicycle. They knew her toys. You know what I mean?
I'll give you that.
Easily pull a print off of something.
Well, you could say they matched one of the sets, at a scene. Basically, if they, that's how it works. But again, the prints. One thing this episode talked about how is they were on the they were on
the shelf side,
shelving stuff, but never behind the counter. So so they kind of clear up the point of they don't think like she was one of the robbers.
They're painting her as very innocent in this situation.
Right. It just happens to happen that somebody robbed the Walgreens and in the process of taking prints, hers popped, meaning that she's probably local to the area.
Mm-hmm. Now, doesn't mean she's not part of the robbery.
No, but I mean,
she could easily be a lookout person.
Yes,
but
we're painting her as innocent.
It casts a shadow of doubt that she is a bad guy.
Yes.
So there's that point. All right, so let's go back to the Hoyt's food bag.
Okay.
All right, so they ask Mom, anybody know anybody at Hoyt Food? I used to work there for a short period of time. And then this leads them to go and talk to the head guy at the Hoyt Food Distribution.
The bag says 79 on it, doesn't it? It says Hoyt Foods 1979.
I'll take your word for it.
I'll take your word for it. I didn't see that.
I think it does, which means she worked on it last year, if that's the case.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
Because she's talking about, she quit. I swear that thing said 79 on it. Maybe it said 76. I don't know. Either way,
Anyway.
pretty recent.
Yeah.
So he gets there, Roland and Hayes, and then they get there and they talk to this head guy. And the key part of this conversation is that they lead you down the path of why was the foundation created, why was $10,000 given, and the whole 9 yards. Now, I thought his explanation was good, but I felt like they were trying to tell the viewer this is another angle of a bad situation because the guy lost his daughter, and now there's a daughter missing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like, hey, viewer, are you catching this?
Yeah, here's a good slap
slapping
in the
you with
face.
it.
Yeah, but this could also be the classic red herring, honestly.
Well, to me, that's I was like, put that in bright letters across the screen.
But, I mean, there's a lot that connects them to this, though. And
yeah, you talk about rabbit hole. Run down your path here.
Hold on, before we get too far in the rabbit hole, though, because I want to talk about why these people are mainly connected.
okay.
Hayes and West are pissed because they were not given forward knowledge that they were going to release this $10,000 reward.
Yes.
Correct.
Because the detectives don't want this out there because you get
False.
constant, false calls.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, the one phone call. I got a dream, and there's
my dream's
there's a
always
snake
like-
farm.
In Huntsville.
Yeah.
Snake farm.
Go ahead and call us back in the morning and ask for these two
FBI
agents.
Yeah.
Which is great. But what I'm saying is, I think the guy they gave us at Hoyt is a legitimately nice man. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because he said, well, we did get approval from you guys.
We talked to the county prosecutor.
County prosecutor, who we know becomes later on bigwig, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think what this did, and it may all be a red herring, is once again, a high up, powerful person approved this, not the main police squad, not the...
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It just shows
Political
you
corruption
It's
and
political
money.
corruption is all it is.
Exactly. But Yellow King, Crooked Spiral, all that shit, all came back to powerful people in basically a pedophile or a perversion ring. And it's like, if they're all making the calls, you know what I'm saying, and know what plays to make, which will hurt the
Hoyts and everything.
will hurt the investigation. False calls constantly, all this
Yes.
crap, leading you in different directions, wasting time. You know what I mean? I'm like, that makes total sense if you're that close to it. So I feel like this guy is just the smiling face they put in front of you because he really legitimately doesn't know anything, just thinks they're doing something nice. I love the fact that Hoyt's daughter went missing, 2 years ago or whatever it was. So I was like, well, man, this makes sense.
His daughter died tragically. Yeah, that's what it was. She died.
No, I think she went missing.
I think she died.
I think she died.
Yeah.
Maybe she did.
That's the reason she created the Foundation for Children.
The
Is
Ozark
because he lost his
Children-
daughter at a young age.
Okay.
I'm pretty positive that's what he said.
Yeah, the
But-
Ozarks Children Outreach Center.
Right.
Correct. So then they asked the question of, I need every employee who's working the chicken line,
700
700 people.
700 people, and their hire dates and, whatever, and so on. So I'm curious about that. Is that truly to see if Lucy was telling the truth, or is that to look for random names that...
Yeah, I mean, I think it just gives you more information. Like, when you don't know what you're looking for, as much information as you can get is going to be helpful.
Plus, looking up 700 people with a record.
Yeah.
How many of these people have any priors?
Right, okay.
So now you're narrowing that pool down. You know what I mean? You constantly narrow it down,
I
constantly.
mean, it's giving you a good list and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Anyway, what was your rabbit hole? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so
the
we
Hoyt food rabbit hole. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen.
we do know that she is missing a child and everything. And so one of the big theories going around is she was the one playing with the kids in the forest.
Who's she?
The wife of the Hoyts.
Okay.
The woman who lost her child and everything. And so we know that there's a brown sedan.
It's a newer,
It's a
almost
newer-
brand new uppity car.
upper scale brown
upper
sedan.
scale. And so then you also have a black man and a white woman in this vehicle. This black man could very easily be a driver back in the 80s and everything.
I'm scooping what you're pooping.
With a scar on his face.
With a scar on his face. Nice little bodyguard and everything as well. And so what kind of person would play games with children out in the woods and everything and doesn't want to be seen? Potentially a nice rich woman who eventually wants to kidnap a little girl, to replace her lost daughter.
That hole's getting deep.
It is getting very deep.
This is thin.
And you're giving this actual credit.
Well, no, and then you've got all these things, and then we were just talking about political corruption. Who's somebody that's going to be able to, dust this under the rug, per se?
If you may give you a plausibility scale, I'm going to say it's very plausible. Is it too easy?
That is the biggest problem. Is this thing is going to be too easy? But the $10,000 fine or reward, that's going to get all these calls rushing in.
Well, that right there is just making cops work harder to find truth, the real truth, because they're getting bogus tips like crazy.
Or it's just going to be like, hey, we want to get this thing ended and everything. We've got too much. We're giving too many resources to this, and it's going to get you to just pick somebody and get evidence to stick on them, and you're not going to look at who actually did it.
I do think there was a weird fact that they gave, or a weird bit of information.
Mm-hmm.
Does Hoyt ever come around anymore? The big man.
I'm on safari.
No, he's in safari in Africa. Hadn't been here in a while.
That is
and he talks about, my boy Hayes is a bit of a hunter. I mean, it's just like a weird, it's out of nowhere.
It's a random tidbit of information to disperse an idea,
but also an alibi.
It is a nice little alibi.
True there.
Who the hell is going to track you whether or not you were in Africa? If you're trying to get somewhere with your wife and a new child you've just abducted, or is saving, then that makes so sense. Be like, I'm gonna be gone for a while.
Well, it's not like he has to clock in anywhere. I mean,
exactly. And who can vouch for him that he was in Africa?
Not only that, and you can imagine he has the money and the juice that corrupt political ties and prosecutors and everything else to make sure that he's not looked at or that everything is on point.
But it also paints the picture of why she's just in the store at, the pharmacy and everything. It's not a robbery. And why would she try to be found in this situation? Because she's living a happy life. She's not going back home. She doesn't have to do that. So she's living her best life and doesn't want to be found.
Okay.
And so, there's a lot that just... I think that it's making this pretty plausible.
The only thing that hurts it is that...
It's too obvious.
It's episode 3. And we supposedly have,
but
hook, line, sinker.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem, and I don't want it to be true. But there's a lot of things pointing us in this kind of direction, and it kind of plays with your nefariousness in the sense that she's planning on taking this kid, at least the little girl, the entire time. We don't know about the little boy, and that could have been
the connection's going to have to come from how did this lady or the man or whatever like that come to find out that these kids are in a shitty household.
She used to work there.
I know she used to work there, but did she go home and be like, "Oh, my kids sure are sad because this garbage house"?
But she's also could be the mountain bike everybody rides, and so everybody and the brother knows it.
I mean, it's possible.
Or they could have started.
I just said that out loud.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm just saying that they're going to have to make that connection before this makes more sense to me.
They could have started off at the children's center after she had lost her kid because it's been around for 2 years or so. Maybe they were going there first, and then she just started scooping them off into the woods.
I could think of I don't know, 5 different things where these people could find out these kids are in a shitty situation and how they're identified. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It could be something as simple as that they're dealing with kids at Devil's Den and they meet these two. You just never know.
Or maybe they're involved in the schools and stuff.
Yeah, it could be, I understand that there could be stuff.
It could. You want to go deeper down the rabbit hole? Amelia. Amelia is your connection of. Hey, by the way, who's these great kids that have a shitty lifestyle? This, that, or so on. And Amelia helps that somehow.
I still think Amelia
way out there.
Yeah, I'm still thinking Amelia has something to do with her book, and I just don't know what it could be.
We'll dive into that one in a minute, but that's a great rabbit hole on the
a lot. It's a lot of different theories, piecing them together. Reddit, they got rabbit holes for days.
Let's talk about Scrapman. Okay, he's going down the dune buggy. The mob shows up. Knew this was coming. He gets out of there, he's like, I have rights, and he still gets a beat down.
I fought for your rights as he's getting kicked. And oh, God.
How timely is this to the shit that's all over the news right now, by the way?
Oh, I know
it, man.
I know.
I mean, could this have lined up any differently?
Really? Yeah, because we do have the Native Americans and everything.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, that is.
Oh, you mean the news that which you don't know which one to believe anymore now?
Well, obviously, but all I'm saying is it couldn't have lined up any worse.
Oh, no. It really couldn't have and everything. We just needed a red hat to pop up
within
somewhere.
days,
But yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway, Junkman gets attacked by your local militia.
Yeah.
Of
you
idiots.
looking at my kids? Will you walk?
Don't ride through anymore. We got kids that play out here.
He's like, I got kids too. No, you don't. Bam.
Yeah. I do like the one guy he got in on it, though.
Oh, yeah.
Jacked him. You see that guy crawl over the tailgate at the very end when they're about to take off? He's hurting.
Oh, yeah.
He paid it.
You always got to get one.
Yeah.
Okay, so the mob scene, unfortunate, like you said, current events doesn't help it either. But significant is they have this one little cut scene later where he's opening his shed, moves some stuff out of the way, and he grabs this bag. Now, this bag is large.
Yes.
This bag, so the debate is, he's getting his guns out, or he's getting this out, or so on. I call BS. Whenever I see a big bag like that, if it's something in it like that, you would grab the handles and you carry it out of there.
True.
He scoops it up like he's scooping up a person. You follow what I'm saying?
But the weight in the bag doesn't look like a person.
It doesn't. To me, I think it's purely on purpose to make the viewer. It's another of those.
Yeah.
Viewer, you get this?
Yeah.
He's picking a body up. Look how he's picking this body up. I think the bag's big, but it's not big enough per se for a 10-year-old child either.
No, it's just right for a nice big rifle, though.
Yeah. Right. So to me, I just again, it's just a slapping the viewer moment of, I'm going to make you look this way. Why it's really over here, So
I think the whole garbage man scenario is leading to unrest in the town. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because what we did find out was West gets shot at some point. Okay?
Yeah.
And because Hayes fucks with him. It's like, I guess I could have got promoted if I was just stupid and got myself shot. But I think the garbage man thing is going to create the mob justice, total unrest in the town, which will also hurt the investigation.
Absolutely.
So it's like nobody is doing these guys any favors.
No. I think it's going to create more pressure to get somebody caught and something to happen to quash the community's,
which is why the case gets reopened.
Right. What do we always see when these cases get reopened and there's new evidence comes out is the fact that
a scapegoat was taken.
A political to-do guy was like, we got to nail somebody, and we got to nail him now.
Yeah,
find somebody.
And as soon as they find a decent suspect, they're like, nail him to the wall. That's our guy.
Yep.
I want a press conference.
Make it stick.
Yep. I want it to stay.
Give me as much evidence as we can and everything. Yep. And who's somebody that could easily be pinned for this right now? As we're talking about, we're getting a little bit of mob justice.
I don't think we've seen the scapegoat yet.
Oh, man.
We may have seen the scapegoat.
I think we saw the scapegoat in the preview of last week's episode, but I don't think we've seen him yet.
So y'all don't think it could be Woodard at all? The guy that goes and gets beat up and everything. The junk man. His name's Woodard.
I don't think so at all. I see him.
Unfortunately, I see him getting shot and killed.
I see him getting killed, and that creating the community chaos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or he is saved, and thus leading to the mob mentality wanting to go after some police, thus leading to Roland getting shot, or something of that nature. I don't see him being the guy who gets incarcerated. I just don't see it.
Oh, no. I think Junkman shoots West on accident.
I could see that.
I think judging by what I've seen, it looks like he just opens fire on these people, and he gets shot. And then West might be the one that returns fire and kills him.
It's possible.
I think it would be more of Hayes.
Which would only keep West more hero than Hayes. You understand what I'm saying?
The community would raise him up on that situation.
Right. But also, once again, just create more distrust and distress in the whole investigation.
See, I think they'd probably try to have more fun and let Hayes track him down.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do yet.
I don't know.
And I don't think it matters necessarily yet. I'm just saying, I don't think he's the guy. I don't even think he's the guy, like you're saying, is the scapegoat that's arrested.
Yeah, like he's another. If that was the case, it would have been too easy of like slapping you in the face situation again. It just
And one of the main reasons is because the family wants this done. The prosecutor is saying either it's the family of the kids or it's the family of this guy's like, we want his case reopened.
Right.
I think it's the family of the scapegoat.
Yeah.
We already
Yes.
know the scapegoat's family's in
They're
the
not
wind.
going to help him out.
They
in
don't
any
care.
shape, way, or form, or anything.
And this
No,
guy's
that's
a
right.
PTSD junk man. I mean, he doesn't have options much,
No.
I wouldn't say.
right. I'm 100% on that. So I think that was just a All right, let's go to the farmer. So it doesn't show Purple Haze give you a real indication of how he ends up finding the spot where the bag and the D&D dice are and this other stuff, but it shows that it's right next to this farmhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And so they decide to go have an interview with this guy, and this is the guy who gives you the clue of it's a black man, the
Older,
brown sedan that's very nice, and a white woman.
Yeah. He's a lot like y'all. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
well put.
We got this guy's feelings real fast.
Oh yeah.
And
But we
Arkansas.
We also found out, though, this guy has already spoken to somebody, and Hayes and West were not told about it again.
right. So this also feeds into the whole podcaster girl who says y'all didn't talk to these people
Mm-hmm.
and everything else, and so again, a sign of power above the department taking care of things that could be potential witnesses or the culprits.
And I mean, I think it's got to be federal because he says they're in suits and everything,
Yeah.
really nice.
If you guys remember, literally the first episode, when Hayes steps outside, it's nighttime. He had just talked to the dad or like that.
Yeah.
He tells 2 cops out by the cop car, case the area, talk to all the neighbors, everybody, stuff like that. And they look at him like,
Let me get right on that.
let me get on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Good old boy garbage. You know what I'm saying? And stumble away. What I'm saying is like, no problem for a couple of guys on the take from some high ups
To just be like,
that
we did it.
yeah, we talked to them.
Yeah, because like he said, they had 100 officers on the case
Right.
working it and everything.
And if Hayes and West look at the report and it says these people have been spoken to,
They got no reason
they
to
would
go.
they would have no reason to go
Yeah.
and speak to him. So it's like all they had to do was lie to them.
Oh yeah.
So I think this more and more pours on
That we got some kind
a
of
powerful
corruption going.
person corrupted with a couple cops. You know what I mean? It's altering what the facts they get.
Especially since somebody gets moved up that we know after this case.
Right. I think one of the big revelations is going to be what cop did this guy talk to?
Oh yeah.
And it'll be asking him some questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, it's like, I guess we go back and look at the report to where this person was and then go talk to that guy. But he can easily just be like, I talked to him. He didn't give me that.
Yeah.
Then it comes down to he said.
True. I mean, you just never know. But like I said, like y'all said, that right there shows there's a higher element here.
Well, we've seen it in a couple of scenes in this episode.
Yeah.
Right. And so really points towards that power, which if you really look at, think about this. Season 1, higher ups influencing politics and law, covering things up, and they unraveled all that and found the bad guy. Season 2, higher ups, corruption, this, that, or so on, blah, blah, blah. You find out how this all unfolds.
So
and
if this
Season
isn't-
3, you got to feel like you're keeping the same MO that the higher up, political corruption, whatever you want to call it, Hoyt food, da da da, again, is somehow intertwined with this whole situation. And so if not, then it doesn't match the MO of what Pizzolatto does in the past.
And so if we don't get some kind of connection to the Yellow King and the Spiral Group and everything, are we a little bit disappointed that this is just kind of the same exact show with different actors?
Not necessarily.
No.
Because the thing with season 1 was they weren't caught.
True.
The bad guys got away in season 1. The
Yeah,
murderer
he died, but
was killed.
everyone else got away
But
scot-free.
the real power behind the whole thing gets away no problem. They can't do anything to him.
Well, you realize season 2, the power won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
The big guys always
always
get away.
win, yeah.
So maybe that's Pizzolatto's thing, is to show people, like, these
So-
people are just puppet masters.
Yeah.
You can't touch them.
Which is a pretty cool thing to see because the
Yeah.
good guy usually always wins, and here surviving is
Right.
winning.
It's like in this show, or in True Detective seasons,
Yeah. crime pays.
We get the guy closest to it, but we never get the string puller.
You never get the big fish,
Right?
And like we didn't even really get him the right way. You know, we get him the wrong way.
I'm just saying. We know the reward. They didn't ask him.
Mm-mm.
We know people were supposedly interviewed by somebody.
But
they weren't told.
The main interviews that were needed.
Yeah. So I mean, they're not given. They're unreliable narrators based on the fact that they don't know.
Yeah, that they're trusting the right people, and that's what's going to get them caught up in trouble.
Yeah,
no doubt. Okay, I thought another key interesting thing here. This was the first episode that shows Purple Haze talking to his wife, who is at the age that she's already dead, and he makes some comments that were pretty, unraveling in my thought.
It almost, to me, it seems like this is the first time this has ever happened.
Yes, I think this is the very first time.
Don't do this to me now.
I don't deserve this.
Right. And you notice he's recording again.
Yep.
He has his revolver on his desk. So like he's talked about, like he was in the doctor's office. You put me in home, I'm off myself. So he's keeping that revolver handy. As soon as he starts to feel like I'm truly losing it,
when he loses full control,
he's just going to pull the trigger. So this is the first sign of.
I 100% feel like the end of the season he offs himself.
Yeah,
and that's a horrible way. That's like a way I feel like it's going to happen, just because it's just more real.
And it might even happen before the end of the season, and then it lives on through his son and everything, or the TV show that they're recording just kind of finishes up his part of it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. All I'm saying, I'm just
yeah.
I could see him totally finding out his daughter has been dead, or because she makes the comment, you lost your job, but not the way you think, or something like that. I could totally see him coming to grips that his daughter has passed, and he's having to relive it, and he just pulls the hammer back, and it's over.
Especially after Walmart. Yeah,
the Walmart sequence in the 90s, showing that he is still struggling mightily
with this case.
10 years after the case, I mean, they can't go to the toy aisle. They can't do nothing but stay right by him.
Right. Man, I didn't even think about the toy aisle just being the trigger because he just saw those little kids' toys and everything, and that's why he can't do it.
All of that stuff.
Yeah,
I was thinking more of like money and everything because they just kind of made it seem like it was budget.
Me being a guy who has small kids, I look at my kids all the time. No, no,
no, but it made total sense. But then when he says, before they make the turn, he says, all you got to do is stay right next to me.
Yes. Okay.
And he's like literally dragging them around.
Yeah. Well, and the kid is like doing what every little boy does. He's sitting on the front of the thing and just pushing them. So, and then the little girl just kind of wanders away.
Yep.
All right. Something else that's a revelation after he talks to his wife like that, the comment gets made, what you left in the woods.
Yep.
Okay. What do we think that Hayes left in the woods that's going to be a big deal on a revelation of this case? Because the way it was brought up makes you feel like
I'm thinking
we need to know.
I'm thinking it might be his sanity after everything that we've seen.
No, it's something physical.
Okay, well, this is what I want to talk about before we got on the podcast. What he left in the woods, I'm kind of leaning towards Cash almost, is like, it may be what he left in the woods in Vietnam. Because that was his job.
Yeah.
Was hunting people through the woods, looking for Viet Cong, and killing them.
And, he was coming back with scalps.
And, coming back with scalps. What he left in the woods might have been his...
Humanity.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I can definitely see that because,
I feel what y'all are saying, but I feel like the way the question was posed is
evidence.
That it's some type of potential evidence or some kind of potential something that's going to show why he's not a cop anymore, or why he wasn't promoted anymore, or why
do we think that it could have been
powers that be screwed him?
But the thing is she's saying, "Are you ever going to say anything about what you left in the woods?" Almost like nobody knows what he left in the woods.
Could it potentially be vigilante justice? And
to me,
it's kind of like the Yellow King. He killed the real person, and now he's trying to recover it up, maybe with her book and stuff. And he doesn't want that discovered.
What if he had the evidence that proves the scapegoat is innocent, but he didn't do it?
And that's why it's haunting him.
You know what I'm saying?
There's things for it there.
There's 100 different options here, but I do believe it's very significant for that question to be asked on episode 3, the way it was for us moving forward in the season. I really feel like that's something that's going to have to be answered based on that.
The reason I'm kind of leaning towards the sanity is just because we see how much that relationship with his wife has deteriorated. he's getting mad at her, drinking, like, I didn't get anything for you at Walmart. And then how scared he is of seeing her.
Yeah, but also, like, I think that's just a phase of how their marriage had some chinks.
Okay.
You know, I just think, because I feel like at the end, you see he's, like, beloved with her.
Yes.
He talks about her in a way that's, like, it's like his missing half. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. And
now, I'm not thinking about a body in the woods. Like,
okay.
You know, you find somebody.
It's like you potentially found the killer, and you knew that y'all weren't ever going to get this evidence to stick.
Or maybe you just find a sicko. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You find somebody that
is preying on kids and everything.
That
that needed to be put down.
The guy.
Yeah.
The guy that was
the
reading,
pedophile that we had earlier.
Books and singing songs to the daycare.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's supposed to be gone.
Maybe
you see him back in town or something like that. Maybe you do put him down and leave him in the woods. I don't know.
I don't feel like that's what it is. I feel like that'd be a waste of storyline to me personally. But
all right, here's the thing. Season 1, episode 4, possibly the greatest sequence of television ever created. Okay?
100% agree.
We all know about this.
Oh, there's no doubt.
By
the way, if you have not gone to see season 1, episode 4, you need to go do so.
And if you have, just look it up on YouTube. It's great to rewatch.
Episode 4 is coming up. I think that's what we're about to get. Is the trash man is going to have a gunfight. Okay, I think that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, I think
we're going to get this amazing, sequence in episode 4 again. It had nothing to do with the story.
Zero.
In season 1.
Yeah, they were running through their lives and going through bikers and doing all this and so on.
A biker drug deal.
And it led to zero bupkis, had nothing to do with the overall case.
It was just to have this
epic scene.
Yeah.
Epic,
it was just
amazing sequence of, shot on film. I think the same thing will come with the trash man. Which is why the trash man could eventually be the scapegoat at some point based on this. Mm-hmm. A desperate man, does something like this.
I mean, the headline will write itself.
The problem will be he never says where the girl is, what happened, never admits to it.
Yeah. And like you said, there's no reason to reopen the case if it is the trash man.
Right. Because, hey, he shot a cop.
Yeah.
Maybe he killed some rednecks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming like 3 or 4 of those guys.
Could be a lot of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what if it comes out he's the father of Julie? You know what I mean? It's way out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, whatever. The mom's...
I mean, she's out to live her life and everything. Have a little bit of fun.
She's out there trying to have a good time. I'm just saying, I think this next episode, we're going to get a whole bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that maybe he's made the scapegoat.
Maybe. Do you think that there was something in that bag that was incriminating?
No.
That's the reason he's getting rid of it. And that...
I just don't see any way he's involved in this. So, like,
I'm not saying he's involved in that, but like something that's incriminating that...
Makes it look like he's involved.
Makes it look like he's involved, thus making him the scapegoat.
And who's to say when he does this rampage and stuff, some of these good old boy cops don't plant something at his house?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more likely than that bag containing anything that makes it look like he's a part of the crime.
He said he lost his children, right? He lost his family like that. What if that's one of his children in that bag?
See, I don't think so. I don't think that's him. I think he's
so
dead
either.
honest.
But imagine if it was...
that's going to start to smell pretty bad.
I'm with you, but they could go, that's just the bones. It could be whatever. You could think of 100 different ways. I don't know. To me, the bag, I want to say it's a red herring. This, that, or so on, but it could be the potential of being something like you said that leads to his being a scapegoat, incriminating. Or it's guns and, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just guns that he picked up that way, like you said, just to make us all think that it's something that it isn't.
He's already said it. He struggles with PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
He came back to a country that didn't
love him
anymore. He had no place anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He had a place over there, even though it was hellish. You know what I mean? He knew where he belonged.
Your job and everything.
He fought for something.
Yeah.
He was valued there.
And then he comes back, and he has no value whatsoever. And he struggles with the PTSD.
Yeah.
So it's like, this makes total sense after being mob beat up for him to come home
and just go back into warrior
and just
mode.
see red.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then do something stupid or explosive.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. And I think there's probably some explosives in there. He's going to set some booby traps.
Maybe that's why he's cradling like a child, because he's got
Some
freaking
C4,
claymores in it.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Something a little more volatile than.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll give you that.
And you set up some traps in the woods and everything, start making some noise.
Or the IEDs,
IEDs.
something like that.
Oh, boy. All right. I don't think it was very significant, but it did give us a little information. Is you get to see Roland roll up in an IROC Z classic
So
80s
cool.
model Camaro.
And he pulls it off.
He is now state police. And head of the state police, apparently. Lieutenant.
He's a lieutenant in the state police. And he's talking to the dad. And the dad thanks him for getting him out of the gutter 5 years previously, where he has a life. You also find out that Lucy, the mom, has passed away 5 years ago. About the same time, got him out of the gutter. And they kind of have this connection, and they just basically talk about, is she really alive? These fingerprints.
He's like, do you know what that does for a father and everything? And
Right. And then they have this unique scene of, will you pray with me?
Well, this is AA.
Okay.
That's what this is. And West appears to be a sponsor. I don't know why West goes this route at some point, but we've seen West put a few back.
Yeah.
Does West drink when he comes to the bar? Yeah, he asks for a beer.
He asks for a beer.
Yeah, he goes for two fingers of Southern Comfort.
Southern Comfort.
Yeah. And he said, and then he gets
to
smart
Every day.
Give me a beer, motherfucker. Or give me a drink.
Give me 2 fingers.
Yeah, I was. So I'm a little surprised the fact that even if he is a sponsor, he shouldn't be drinking. So maybe he's not a sponsor.
But you do realize now he doesn't actually get his drinks. He just tells them about the case and then they go out the door.
No, he drinks.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm almost positive he drinks
right.
it. But 1990s, 90, West gets him back on the case. Says you want to go to work again.
Yeah, it's open again like that. You want to get on this? And you're like, heck yeah. So he takes it on.
But he's in the IROC, like you said, goes and talks to the dad. Dad looks way better, by the way.
Oh, yeah. He looks fantastic. Shave that beard and everything.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to end up playing a significant role. I just cannot, for the life of me, figure out what it's going to be yet.
I think it's just character building for Roland. You're showing that how life progressed for one. You need to show the life how it progressed for the other.
No, I agree.
But I mean, saving the dad and everything, like, I don't know. Like, there's just something in my stomach that's saying that this is going to play a big role. And I'm not quite sure what it can be yet. Because, like, what does he save the dad from?
Well, you get whatever the outcome of this, whoever the scapegoat or whoever the bad guy is, we're going to see what happens to these people. Mm-hmm. And so maybe he decides to go and save them or save him or whatever. I don't know.
When he talks to him and says, did the prosecutor come talk to you? He's like, yeah. And he's like, do you explain what's going on about opening the case and stuff? He goes, he talked to you about the fingerprints, and he goes, do you know what that means to me?
Yeah.
Which makes it almost seem like, did he ask for the case to be reopened? Was it him? That asked, he's the family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Technically, yeah, he's the last living one. I mean, if the mom's dead and the kid's dead.
It seems more likely that it's the scapegoat's family that's one that reopened, obviously. But, because this would all be moving so fast if that was the case.
True.
But we also learned, though, that they're holding back info on the stuff. Remember, his wife goes to, schmooze some guys with no bra on and talk about my ex-husband's a cop. And
I'm clocking out. We talk about this over a drink and dinner.
Yeah.
He's staying as close as he can the entire time.
Oh, man.
She's pointing at him. God, Lee, she's pointing.
He's looming over her.
Oh, yeah.
And I swear they did that on purpose. The whole Trump-Hillary debate where he looms over her and stuff. I was like, they're doing this on purpose.
Yeah. There's so many undertones with everything they're doing, man. That's crazy.
She's killing it too, by the way. Actress. She's murdering it.
Oh, yeah.
She's doing a great job. But he was none too pleased when she comes back after a dinner date with these clowns.
Yeah.
No. She's like, I got this evidence. They might even let me look at the tape. All this good stuff, and he's like, "Could you not throw this at me?"
How about his last line is, "I've said my piece. You can go to bed now."
Yeah,
this conversation's over.
Well, apparently,
I want to argue. I said my piece.
Apparently, it's like all they talk about.
Well, I mean,
her
she's writing
book,
that book.
his case.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing though.
It's a dominance thing.
I know, but it's like I could see where that would be a marital problem, where it comes to the point where it's like, I don't want to talk about this with you anymore.
Yeah.
You know
but
what I mean?
To write her book, that's all she wants to talk about and everything. And if she's having success with it and he's no longer having success with it, I can see why, like you said, it becomes a marital problem. It was like, I don't need you doing so well with me failing, and mine's kind of more important since I'm trying to catch somebody.
Yeah, but it's like she's realizing her dream while his is falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You know
you work
what I
at a
mean?
place where nobody gives a shit about you.
I mean, we got to see his new desk at a typewriter.
Oh, God.
Just writing reports.
Not even a true cubicle. You can look to your left and see Betty Joe over here typing hers. Look to your right over here, Susie Ann typing hers.
I mean, I was even surprised to see him have cuffs and a gun still on his hip.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Based on where he was working. I was like,
But also, like,
at least you have that dignity still.
Yeah. Ready for use anytime.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a typewriter like that where it was like a little circular thing.
The orb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it before.
Okay, so like I've just only
Me
seen
either,
the
Cash.
standard.
Don't worry. I've never
Okay.
seen that film in my life.
I thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah. No, it's...
I wonder if it made it type faster or something, like the significance of it.
No idea.
It was a typewriter.
Hey, man.
I think it's as
pretty
fast as
good.
you
Whatever,
click the button.
man. They put it on the screen.
It
They even made a
means
little
something.
cutscene of it. You know, I'm like,
They're like,
I think
we,
it's just supposed to show you the time.
they're like, we spent $2,000 on this typewriter. We're getting as much as we can out of
It's
it.
getting screen time, gosh damn it. Okay. All right, I think, you know what? I think we've hit most of the episode. We're pretty solid. Let's talk about our potential subjects and how have things changed and so on like that. Okay, the neighbor lady was not even seen.
yeah,
No-
she was. She's at the table, dinner table, holding her hand when they come back to talk. And she's sitting on the damn couch watching TV with him, too.
Oh, man. I didn't even
I
notice.
didn't
Oh,
see her.
yeah.
This episode.
This episode, she is sitting at the kitchen table.
Did you see her?
Holding her hand when they come in and are talking to them in the kitchen. And then she is on the
Oh.
couch watching TV with
Yes,
them
you are right.
at the end of it, too. When they're leaving.
You're making my neck hair raise.
I'm telling you, this bitch has got something to do with it.
Okay, so neighbor lady, we'll call her
Spooky
Halloween
Halloween,
decoration
yeah.
lady.
Halloween lady.
Halloween lady. Okay, so I'm going to say her
She's still on the meter.
the meter's still running pretty high
Yeah.
right now because
The hood's warm.
Yeah.
the hood's warm. I'm not touching the exhaust hot, but that hood's warm. Okay. All right, so that's good. She's still on dock. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and say Lucy, the mom's out of the mix. She's died. Nothing there.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Lucy.
Okay.
Well, I don't think so.
Dad, you know,
Yeah, I
no,
don't think
I think
so.
he's completely off radar now. Yeah, engine's cold.
He was
Yeah, I
off
mean-
episode 2 when he busted out crying in the back seat.
Yeah.
I was like, he is not involved.
All right, Scrap Man.
Not
Scrap Man,
involved.
no, I'm 100% no. on
Yeah.
him.
Okay, you're 100% no on him. I'm going to go with a 5%. We just started the car.
No.
Literally just turned the starter over.
5%.
This
I don't
bag,
think it
this
started the
green
car.
bag
Yeah.
has got you too mixed up. No.
Okay.
I'm telling you, we're getting a biker drug scene, season
Okay.
1 style, next
All right.
episode.
All right, so Amelia.
I'm still going with she's definitely got something involved with this.
Okay. After our last podcast, where Cash was the first one to bring this up, that Amelia was a suspect
Yeah.
for him. I think the next day, that's all I thought about was the fact that when we first meet her, she's a school teacher. She doesn't quite love her job. She really wants to be a writer.
Correct.
Yes.
She
So-
would know the kids'
Right.
rights are crap.
Knows the kids, knows their kind of situation a little bit. I started thinking about Nightcrawler, where you create a crime in order to be the first person on the scene to take the
yeah.
photos,
Correct.
to get the best photo.
Which
right?
that's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
If you're a writer,
What do you
do you create a crime only to write a book about it and know
that's how you
everything?
create-
and know all
And
the
that's how you
evidence and
create-
everything?
That's how you get your
Your
fame,
big break.
your break.
Yeah.
Because you have intimate details.
Right. I mean, what depth do you go to create your dream?
Yeah, I
You know
mean,
what
you
Is it
bring your
just
fantasy to life.
So convenient that she ends up getting with the detective on the case.
That might not be convenient. That might be planned.
I think it would be more convenient, but I think it helped her.
To me, I think it's convenient. You can't tell me you were expecting to have tall, dark, and handsome roll in.
No, I think it's convenient.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about cash here. You know.
I'm just saying, but I got to thinking about the Nightcrawler scenario
Yeah.
where I was like, man, this kid. I mean, you talk about a good ending,
Again,
rocking
that's-
your world.
That's what I'm saying. Like that would be the funnest ending to the series to
Yeah.
find out that Amelia, who has now passed, is that him coming to the revelation of, holy shit, my wife
is the one that did all
was
this.
the one that did this the whole time.
The only
and then you
thing
have
that-
that montage of scenes of her doing thing in between what they've shown us, and you'd be like, "No,
we get the Kaiser Soze moment and everything."
Exactly. You lift the coffee mug up, you see the bottom of it, you're like, "No, fuck no, you got to be kidding me."
But like, also, like Roland wants to bring her back in. Like, hey, how about that school teacher to help us interview these kids again?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. And that's what I'm saying. That's what lifted me up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's throwing a wrench in it now is the brown sedan, black driver, white lady.
But
Unless it's light skinned lady,
Yes.
which at this point I'm thinking that's not the case.
probably not. But I mean, it
considering
leaves
you've never
the-
seen Amelia with anything but dark hair. You know what I mean? And I just don't think you would mistake her at a distance of being a white.
True. But my thing is also it's still a lot of wonky stuff with Amelia. He hands her the photo of that doll. Mm-hmm. She looks a little shaken by it, and yeah, she's around.
Of course,
walking.
she's the one who gives you the information
She
where
gets
they
to
comes
walk,
from.
walk around and ask kids about it and stuff like that. No problem.
And I could easily see her being able to make these kinds of dolls. No problem.
Well, she's
with
extremely
everything.
smart. Yeah, you know, I'm just like,
Or she knows where the source is and how it
Creepy
plays into
Halloween
what
lady.
happened. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
as far as I'm concerned, as far as what they've shown us on the screen, she is like the most likely suspect to me as far as what they've shown us. In the end, I don't think she's going to be the one.
This episode made me pull her meter down.
Exactly. Only because of the brown sedan
Yeah.
stuff.
The Hoyt food thing.
Yeah. They gave us different angles this episode that made it cool down. Man, 1 and 2, the whole
Like,
writer
revving,
gig,
yeah.
I was like, man, this makes total sense.
Yeah.
This
It
brought
is
it down a little
pretty
bit.
high.
But I'm not going to give her 0%. I'm going to give her, you know.
Like, I mean, I'm
Almost
still
to the hood
saying
warm.
I mean,
she might not have done it, but I think this book is hiding something that makes her a part of it.
they show it constantly.
Yes, like this
I
is
mean-
too
Well,
big of a deal.
There's even a part where she's like, "Oh, are you finally reading that?" You know, like that or something. Maybe he's never read it on purpose because it's a sore spot of their marriage. And for all you know, we could have a scene 4 episodes from now where he starts reading through it and going, "Wait a minute,
We never told anybody
About-
exactly
yeah.
where'd this info come
dun,
from.
dun, dun, dun,
You know? Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be something like that, and that could be so freaking cool. You know,
Yeah, or maybe he called her a great investigator. You know what I mean? When she's writing the book. Mm-hmm. And it's like, or maybe he realizes new information.
what if Amelia worked the chicken line?
Worked at Hoyt Food Factory. Well, we
But
see
that-
her name pop up on
You
this
never
list.
know. Hey,
How long did she say she'd been teaching there, though?
Like 3 years, I feel like.
I think too long.
You might be right, but you never know.
I mean, 700 names, hers could pop up.
It's possible.
We'll see.
Like you said, the bag might have said 76. She's been teaching for 3 years. That means she worked a job before 80.
It's possible. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still saying she's in the red for
But
me,
my
or
thing
like
is,
orange,
she was
maybe.
at
Just put it
college.
this way. If she worked at Hoyt Foods from 75 to 76, the bag has 76 on it. And just that or so on.
Potentially.
Potentially. I'm just saying, like, that's a lot of big puzzle pieces
Yeah.
going right there together. But I don't know.
But she's
That's-
supposed to have been in college, too, at
Supposed
that
to be.
point. So,
All right, so Amelia, the hood's warm. That's where we're at. It's colder than it was. You know,
It's gone down a peg.
gone down a bit because it's episode 3. All right, so anybody from the original one we talked about even worth mentioning anymore? I think the only one new now is the Hoyt food connection. You know,
but that's not even a new. It's just a new connection onto political people.
Yeah.
correct.
Well, and we
Well,
we find
he
out
says
that they run
Mrs. Hoyt or the Hoyts. You wouldn't call it to that.
Well, do we think the person who actually took the kids has been shown on screen? The person who's playing in the woods with them, have we seen them?
Now I'm leaning towards no.
I'm leaning towards no, that we have not seen these people yet.
I feel the same way.
Because we haven't seen who this
However,
brown sedan
that
is.
damn neighbor still is itchy.
Halloween lady freaks me out.
She's seen him. I think she knows something.
If, I mean, any mystery murder movie you've ever seen, they have this supposed, no necessary character that's always hanging around, or they show a little too often, and it ends up they have either 100% to do with it, or have something to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm just
And
like,
she's been in every episode.
every
in a key
single episode she's been in.
spot.
I know it, man. And I swear, like, in the next episode or two, you're going to find somebody that finds these dolls, and you're going to realize that the neighbor is the one who's either had them, collected them, or makes them, or something.
We didn't get back to the Halloween path they took this episode.
No, we did not.
So we haven't found that out yet. Like, we don't know exactly which houses.
No conclusions have come from that.
Yeah.
But also, and like if she's in the house watching TV with the parents and everything, there's a chance she could have seen that book of his first Holy Communion and everything, and seen how his hands are laid up.
Like I said,
it's
he
like,
said,
hey,
what's this stuff?
I'm sure.
So I mean, like, there's a chance that it wasn't necessarily Julie that put her brother's hands like that.
I'm almost 100% that Julie helped pose the body.
Yeah, well, I'm also saying like,
we're saying that
Halloween
the neighbor has
seen
access to that book to know what it is. For all you know, they've been sitting there looking through family photos while they're waiting, hoping these children come back.
But see, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if this wasn't Pizzolatto's way of throwing the Catholic Church in there as another suspect.
Yes.
First off, the brown sedan, well-to-do, money, and then this is photos from his communion.
First Holy Communion and everything.
You know what I mean? That's like...
That's a big moment.
Little ringer there.
I had mine.
I mean, this is when the Catholic Church was running rampant.
Yeah.
With pedophilia and cover-ups and all that crap and stuff. It's like, well, that just makes total sense. Not to mention, they're extremely powerful.
Yes.
True.
You know what I mean?
Always will be.
True.
So it's like, that is a possible massive red herring, too, just to throw the Catholic Church in there all of a sudden.
All right. Let's wrap up the episode by going over what the preview shows us for next week. So, guys, if y'all are not the ones that want to talk about possible previews or spoilers, etc., so on, which we don't have technically spoilers, this would be about the time you say goodbye on the episode. But look, we want to thank y'all. Our first episode exploded. We went up to number 2 on iTunes, on most of True Detective podcasts, and a lot of other places, and huge download numbers. And we really
can't
appreciate
thank y'all
that.
enough.
I'm hoping y'all enjoy the content. Make sure you're still hitting that subscribe if you haven't, and if you got a minute to give us an iTunes review, that would be huge. That's
thumbs ups,
anything like that, or
five
so on.
stars.
It's
I mean,
awesome.
that helps us.
It's absolutely amazing that we're number 2 on iTunes when it comes to a podcast. But a lot of that, like I said, really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Like, you can always find us on any social media. The BleedTV Podcast. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And, of course, you can hit us at BleedTVPodcast@gmail as well. If you want to throw some wrinkles, or if you have a theory, or if you think we're off on something, do not hesitate to communicate with us and let us know what you think. We'll even add that stuff to the podcast.
We have no problem giving you a shout-out or anything. And if you just want to converse with us because we missed something and, we didn't get on a topic that you liked enough, go ahead, let us know, and we'll be glad
we might pick it up on the next one. Absolutely. But, guys, that's what we're going to call on this. And so we're going to take a quick pause and go right into the previews for next week. And that was good enough. All right. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Some key things were mentioned in the preview for next week. They kept talking about there's so many pieces missing, and we're not looking at the case the right way. That was mentioned twice in the preview. That, and they show a few scenes, but then they also talk about, they make the statement, Will's death is believed to be an accident. Mm-hmm. They clarify that verbally in the preview. Okay? And then they also talk about, everything has been pointing towards the girl, but we've been wrong this whole time. Okay? And then the last thing is that there's the montage of the scrap guy running for his life, and then there's an explosion and gunfire while they're next to a factory or big buildings,
possibly
or something. And you see Roland like flee up, and like when something explodes by him, and so on. So that's kind of like the key things of the preview. But
also there's one guy who can make those dolls. Black guy, got one dead eye.
Yep.
Right.
And we see him.
And we see his spot picture of him.
Right, and you also see a much older white woman in a room with these two sitting there talking to her, and you get the information of that's who makes the dolls, and you see several of them on the table and so on. So the dolls are really going to become a key thing. Again, I think the dolls are going to lead to basically a black gentleman that has a scar, what you said, the dead eye, and this is going to become your scapegoat. Okay, I didn't mention it in the pod earlier, but this is where the preview made me go, well, hell, there answers that question. And so I think that's huge. I think, like they said, the statement of we've been pointing at the girl and been wrong. Where do you think they mean by that?
she wanted to go run away with them and everything, not necessarily kidnapped. It was just like...
I think Julie's parentage is the huge part of this.
Yes.
When the chick says, you know what happened with Julie and her father, the podcast or the show lady says that on the interviewing.
And we had his parents were like, you know, she...
could have been conceived while he was on an oil rig.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that the scapegoat or the person who did the kidnapping is Julie's real dad.
Okay.
Because if you are Julie's real dad, why would you want Will?
Fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But
Will, being a protective brother, why would you let her go with anybody?
especially leave you behind into a
and you have no way of proving that's who it is. And who says you actually knew that?
So it's like I can easily see Julie's real dad possibly being the person that took her or being the person that becomes the scapegoat.
So as potentially being the person, could we possibly say this again points to the Hoyts if she worked at the factory and everything and he was still working there at the time?
That's what I think we're going to find out in 700 Names is who Julie's dad is.
Okay.
Because 700 Names is going to turn up somebody.
Well, I'm saying it might not turn up anybody. It might just be Hoyt, and she worked there, and she slept with the creator of Hoyt's chicken industry.
Or if it's old man Hoyt, it could maybe it's the son, or I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, they've already given you the look of that she's a party life girl. Mm-hmm. What's to say why she was there? She stooped Hoyt, and
especially while he's away on the oil rig and everything.
Did she say she worked there during the time that would have conceived the baby?
We don't know when she worked there.
We don't know necessarily.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
she said, I worked there years back, but I make better tips and this, that, or so on at whatever place she works
if
now.
Hoyt's the father, and he lost his kid a few years ago, but tells his wife, well...
And it would explain why he knows.
I actually have another daughter out there.
Yeah, and it would explain why they know about their home life situation is because, well, I know the mother.
Yeah.
So
that's a possible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, there's some...
You could also look at it from the angle of he's on safari, so the wife gets rid of the kids, whatever. You could look at it as that's a stain to their name. Is that he finds out that an illegitimate child that could take the Hoyt, whatever, if it's ever discovered.
And also if it is his child and everything, and Julie or Lucy mysteriously dies down the road and everything, tying up some loose ends. I mean, yes, I'm
super thin. I mean, I
think some of it's going to be what kind of condition is Julie in now that we know she's alive.
Yes, and I mean that's what we need to figure out.
Julie, and she's in a nice dress and pearls.
It points more towards
maybe Miss Hoyt was just been taking care of her. Mm-hmm. They've been taking care of her this
whole time. They accept her as part of the family and everything. Yeah. But if she is robbing the store and everything, or part of the lookout team or something like that, then we know it's a little bit more nefarious, like you were pointing out.
Hey, Hoyt, you're powerful. You got money. You own some of these politicians. I'll need a new daughter.
Yes.
And I'm going to get it. You know what I mean? It's like you take care of all this shit. Make sure, everything comes out clean. Mm-hmm. And I'll protect her.
Do you think there's any chance that there's the potential of, which is, current events, recent, this, that, or so on, somebody's captured and they're Jedi mind tricked into believing they're in a better place, and they'll simply run into her because she went to Walgreens picking up shopping, and she thinks her abductors or new parents or this.
Stockholm syndrome. Happens all the time.
Do you think that's a potential here?
Potentially, especially if they've been playing with her in the woods.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you twist them to begin with.
Right. So, I mean, to me, that doesn't have an impressive ending to show the political power to it. So
I don't like that.
I'm off of that one.
No.
But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't see anything else coming from that other than, like I said, there's a few nuggets, know.
So just, guys, tune in next week for us. Please give us a like on iTunes and everything if you can. Give us a review.
Rate, review.
Really help us out.
Huge.
And please email us any questions. Talk to us on Facebook, Instagram, anything. And we'll love to have a conversation with you.
Absolutely. Guys, this is True Detective Podcast from BleedTV, and we're out of here. See y'all next week.